Now, of course, the Mate 30 Pro is getting all the hype, all the attention because of its design, the waterfall screen, but it's not such a practical screen as I discovered in my use of it. I do have a review. There is a link in the description of this video if you are interested in my review of the Mate 30 Pro. But the Mate 30 to me is in a way better because the screen is flat. We have hardware volume up and down keys, so they're very easy, of course, to access when you're in media or playing games. You can quickly turn the volume down if needed, and I found with the Mate 30 Pro that sometimes it was a bit of a hassle to lower the volume. And of course, it still has a 3.5mm headphone jack, just like the Mate 20. They didn't drop that. So for those that want this, and of course a cheaper price tag, but you still get the new Kirin 990 chip, I think it's worthwhile going for. So inside the box, we've got a TPU case. Now, it isn't bad. It does protect the buttons and better than nothing. Okay, it's not that hard style one we get with the Mate 30 Pro. The 40-watt charger, which charges this phone in my testing in 1 hour and 5 minutes. It is really quick. Okay, let's just cover now first the built-in design of this phone. I find the build quality to be excellent. It's right up there with other flagships, as you'd expect. So we've got a notch at the top that's a little bit ugly, housing that 24-megapixel camera, and then also a 3D time of flight one that's used for information for your portrait shots. And you can see the side bezels and the chin here, very small. The screen is larger than the Mate 30 Pro, which is 6.62 inches, this one here. The resolution is 2340 by 1080, so it's full HD plus. Now we do have, because we've got the flat screen, which I prefer, we have physical hardware volume up and down buttons here, so it's not controlled by touch, like the Mate 30 Pro, of course. Now these buttons are made out of metal, good feel to them, and I can easily get to the power button. So I'll demonstrate the face unlocking, tap the power button, look at it, it unlocks. Very, very quick here. Do that one more time for you. It's about a second or under a second. The same goes for the in-screen fingerprint reader. That is quick, and for me, it is very accurate. It's working 10 out of 10 times. I don't think I've actually seen it foul on me yet. I think it's the same tech they're using in the P30 Pro, and I haven't had any issues with that, which is my current phone. So down the bottom here, you can see we've got a Type-C port, which does support video out, mic, 2 antenna lines, loudspeaker, and 3.5mm headphone jack. This is important for a lot of people, and personally I prefer to still have this, and great being able to use my wired headphones, and the output does sound really good with this, no troubles whatsoever. IR transmitter is on here for those that want to control air conditioning units and play pranks on people turning off their TV or whatever. You can do it. Secondary mic used for noise cancellation in voice calls and in video. And you'll see that the camera does stick out a little bit, the bump we've got on the rear, the bulge. It's approximately 1mm. So the total thickness, including the camera, 9.7mm. And without it, I measured 8.6. This is our SIM tray right here, so it'll take 2 nano SIMs. You can expand upon it with Huawei's own storage cards, but I don't see anyone actually buying them because you have to use, of course, a Huawei phone with them. They won't work on other phones. It's not like micro SD, which is global. So overall, good build quality, curved edges on the back, made out of glass, and you can see I haven't cleaned it on purpose here just to show you that it does pick up all your fingerprint oils and grease and gunk, and it looks messy after just a few days of using it. And next to the P30 Pro that I have, the phones are about the same height. It's just the P30 Pro's a little slimmer due to the curved display. So Play Store I do have installed. At the time of this video, there is a new working method, and it's running Android 10 as well. So just quickly show you full screen gestures. This is for multitasking, super smooth and fluid there. I'm not seeing any micro stutters, any issues with lag or performance, which is very, very good there. Battery life, you're looking at about continual use, 9 hours to 10 to 11 hours, dependent on your screen brightness and what you're actually doing. So if you game continually with a high brightness, you'll burn through the battery in about 5 hours or so. GPS is working well. I'm not having any issues with it. Gets a quick lock. Accuracy will be about 4 meters, which is standard for most mobile phones. Here we have the bump, in performance, which is the GPU. That is up now approximately 20 points because of the additional 6 cores we have here. And you do notice it in gaming performance, as I'll show you later on. It's just that little bit smoother. CPU scores are slightly higher. Memory as well, slightly higher. Not that much of an increase really over the Kirin 980, the previous gen chip. UFS 3 storage, very, very quick here. No complaints. Random reads and writes are super fast as well, as you would expect. Just like wireless. Wireless, very good range, and I'm getting really good speeds. As you can see, they top out at almost 500 megabits per second, which is up there with other flagships, of course. So here's where we run into an issue. It's very common with Chinese phones, Chinese ROMs. They don't apply for Widevine Level 1 cert, okay? So DRM, with your video streaming services like Amazon Prime Video or Netflix, will be stuck in standard definition. But I believe that the global ROM eventually will definitely have a Level 1 cert, I think, there. And there was this huge software update as well that came through to fix issues apparently and add more support for different things with the camera. Now onto a sample of the loudspeaker. So before I get onto that, call quality is very good. There is active noise cancellation that does work well. And the 3.5mm output, as mentioned, sounds good. Bluetooth audio as well, good, but you can't push real high volume. Huawei are limiting us a little bit in that department here. So we've got a single downwards firing speaker here. The earpiece sadly doesn't act as a second loudspeaker, but here now is a sample of what you can expect from this speaker. I'll also just measure it too, so you can see just an estimate of just how loud it is. Moving on to our cameras now, so this is my camera portion of my review. I find that it does take a very good photo, as you can see from these samples right here. And you've got the 3x optical zoom, of course, does look good. I noticed that there is a bit of a difference definitely in the way the images are optimized and their processing compared to the Mate 30 Pro. You'll see this in my comparison when I compare both of them too. There's a video, that separate one that I did about a week ago. I also noticed too the video quality right now, you can see this is 4K 30. It is good electronic image stabilization. However, the Mate 30 Pro does a better job of stabilization for some reason, and it also has sharper 4K video. Now this could be just software differences, or it could be intentional that Huawei doesn't want the Mate 30 to have equal video quality to the Mate 30 Pro. And this is definitely obvious, of course, with the new sensor. In low light, the Mate 30 Pro does offer better quality video. Now that ultra wide, when you have a look at ultra wide photos, you see now that the ultra wide, I think, is actually a little bit better on the Mate 30 because it has a better field of view. It fits in a lot more than, say, the Mate 30 Pro. And to me, the idea of the ultra wide, of course, is to fit the maximum amount you can of whatever you're looking at, scenery, into the photo. So that's why I prefer it. But it doesn't look as detailed when you zoom in to shots compared to the Mate 30 Pro as expected. Now 4K 60 frames per second video. Right now you're seeing the sample. Of course, it's taken its 60 frames per second rate down to now 30 because of this video. And you see it looks fine and good and all dandy, but look what happens. It runs into stutters. Now this happens when you record over a few minutes of footage or continually record different clips. The phone heats up a lot and it starts dropping frames like crazy. It will never maintain, even when cold, a solid 60 average frames per second. So this is a bug that Huawei need to correct. It just drops frames like crazy, and they really pushed 4K 60 frames per second and video quality on these phones. So I'm highly disappointed by this problem that I'm sure will be corrected with firmware updates. Now the major update we have here with the Kirin 990 is of course the GPU, that it's more powerful. We've got the additional 6 cores, and you do notice the difference, that it's much smoother here. Moving around, you don't get those frame dips that you sometimes get with the Kirin 980 that's in my Huawei P30 Pro. So very smooth gameplay here with Call of Duty. These guys must be bots because I'm just going around getting knife kills here. So there we go. In a way, I like this phone better than the Mate 30 Pro because it's got the flat screen 3.5mm headphone jack, and of course, the big one, it's cheaper. ROM performance is very good, very fast, just like the Mate 30 Pro. Now in the camera department, you saw from those stills that it will take a very good photo. I noticed there's still some tweaking need to be done here with the color optimization, getting the white balance correct. But also the focus in video is off a little bit, and even sometimes with still shots. And I also noticed that the sharpness of the 4K video we have because of the electronic image stabilization crop is not quite as good as the Mate 30 Pro. Now I don't know whether this is intentional to not compete directly with their top-end flagship, or it just happens to be software. I think it's more software. Updates are required, just like the Mate 30 Pro. The other thing to note is that the 4K 60 frames per second footage has frame drops after you record about 4 or 5 clips of 4K 60 footage. I noticed maybe on the third, once you go over a minute, it gets hot, it starts to drop frames like crazy, and that's not good to see. Hopefully they can patch and fix that. I had the same issue with the Mate 30 Pro as well with that one there. So all up, great low light photography, great battery life as well, the flat screen, you've got the hardware volume up and down buttons that I prefer over the software ones now on the Mate 30 Pro. So it gets a thumbs up from me, a tick as a great mobile phone. Of course, wait for the European version. We now have the workaround to get Google Play Store on there unofficially, of course. So if you're not happy with that, like I said with the Mate 30 Pro video, I say just sit on the sideline there, wait and see what happens with this first if you don't want to take that risk. Other than that, you've got very good hardware. It's just the optimization with the software's needed. No widevine level 1 cert, sorry, it's level 3. So you don't get HD video, full HD with Netflix and Amazon Prime Video and other streaming services, which I'm sure will be corrected with the global version because they don't really care about that in the Chinese market. And I think that's why we don't have that cert at the moment. So thank you so much for watching this review. Please do check out my review of the Mate 30 Pro if you're interested, of course. And my comparison with the cameras between the Mate 30 and the Mate 30 Pro is quite interesting. You'll see that there's actually a huge difference. You would think they would be the same, but no, big difference there, especially with the ultra-wide. I prefer the ultra-wide on this mobile because you get more in the shot, so a better field of view. Again, thank you for watching, and I do hope to see you back in the channel. Bye for now.